In this video I will show you how to make the simplest kind of radio that you can use after disaster strikes. This is one of the absolute most basic forms of communication that we can have, and with just a little bit of know-how, you can get yourself a radio going in no time. First things first, you need to gather your materials. I've gone ahead and grabbed myself a cat food can. Yes, cat food. It doesn't matter what kind of can you use, but you do want to make sure that it's clean. So make sure you rinse it out a few times until there's no more residue from the cat food inside. Then take your can and punch 2 holes on the side of it, one near the top and one near the bottom. These holes are for ventilation purposes. They allow air to pass through so that the speaker can vibrate and make noise. Next, you want to grab some wire. Now I'm using an old pair of headphones that aren't working anymore, so I'm just stripping them apart and grabbing some wire from here. But you want to get yourself a decent length of insulated copper wire. The thicker the wire, the better. I wouldn't go thinner than 20 gauge. And then at the end of each strand, you want to strip off about ½ an inch of the insulation, so that you have bare copper showing. Next, we're going to open up our can, and we're going to place the speaker inside. If you don't have a speaker laying around, you can always make one out of a piece of paper and some string or yarn. Just roll the paper up into a tight cylinder, and then secure the ends with the string or yarn. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but it should work. Now that our speaker is inside the can, we need to grab some more wire, and we take the 2 ends and twist them together. This is going to be our antenna. Now the longer the better, but I would say a minimum of about 6 feet. You could even try making a longer antenna out of multiple pieces of wire all twisted together. Next, we need to grab our 2 pieces of insulated wire that we set aside earlier. We take the ends of both wires and hook them up to the positive and negative sides of the battery. Once that's done, we grab our other piece of insulated wire, and we take the end, strip it bare, and stick it into the cat food can. Make sure it goes in nice and snug so that it makes good contact with the metal. This is going to be our ground. Now, before we test this out, let me show you how to safely open up a can without a can opener. We take our sturdy knife, and we place it right next to the edge of the can. Then, with our other hand, we're going to grab the can, and we're going to start to twist it. Now, because we punched holes in the side of the can, this will allow us to cut all the way around. So we continue to twist and turn until we get all the way around the can. Then we're going to open it up and check it out. Beautiful. Now we can grab our stuff inside. So now we're ready to test this out. All we need to do is grab our antenna and see if we can find a station. Now keep in mind, this is a very, very basic radio. So we only be able to pick up stations that are broadcasting at very low power, meaning they're going to have to be relatively close. I wouldn't expect to be able to pick up anything more than about 10 miles away, maybe less. It really depends on the terrain and the frequencies that are being used. But let's go ahead and crank this on and see what we can find. As you can tell, this isn't picking up anything. So what I am gonna do is go outside and see if I can find a broadcast tower. So I went ahead and walked down the street and I found this guy's TV antenna. So I hooked up my radio to it and tuned it on and looked. We're getting some static. There's a station about a mile away that I am picking up and you can hear the audio just fine. Now the signal jumps around a lot because the antenna I am using is not meant for this kind of thing. It's a TV antenna, so it's designed to pick up high-frequency broadcasts. But again, this is just a super simple, basic radio, and it's picking up something a mile away, which is pretty cool. So the really cool thing about these kinds of radios is that they very simple to build, and they also very easy to hide. So if you're living in a grid-down situation where people are still around, you may not want them to know that you have a radio, especially if you're listening to any kind of emergency broadcast. So having something like this where you can just throw it together in a can, it's very low-tech, it's very hidden, and it's easy to carry around with you in your bug-out bag or your get-home bag. But if you want to take things a step further, there are more advanced radios that you can make. And to make those, you'll need to go to a website called xtalradio.com. Now, once you're on the homepage, go to the left-hand side and click on the link that says Radios. Then scroll down to the bottom and click on the link that says Crystal Radios. Now we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at this guy right here. This is the simplest kind of radio that you can make, and it uses a crystal instead of a coil and capacitor, like the previous example. Now this one's also gone. Be a little bit more sensitive, so it'll be able to pick up stations a little farther away. So we're going to go ahead and click on this link and see what we got. Okay, so we got ourselves a parts list and instructions for this radio. Now first up we need a crystal, and you can get these online from websites like eBay or Amazon. Just search for radio crystal and then whatever frequency you want to be able to pick up. If you're not sure what frequency you want to pick up, a good starting point would be the emergency broadcast frequency, which is 1620 kHz. So that's what I'm going to go with. Next, we need a tuning capacitor, and you can get these on the same websites. Just search for tuning capacitor. For the value you want to get a 400 picofarad variable tuning capacitor. Next, we need a BFO, or beat frequency oscillator, and this is just another small crystal radio that you can buy online. you can use the same website, eBay, or Amazon. And the model number that you want to get is the BFO Mini Pro. Next we need a rectifier, and for this we're going to use a 1N34, a germanium diode. These are also available on sites like eBay and Amazon. Next we need an earphone, and this can be any kind of earphone. You can use an old pair of headphones that aren't working. Just rip them apart and pull the earpiece out. Alright, so now that we have all of our parts, we can go ahead and assemble this radio. First we need to hook up the BFO to the earphone, and we do this by taking the positive side of the BFO and attaching it to the tip of the earphone. Then we take the negative side of the BFO and attach it to the base of the earphone. Now we can go ahead and plug in the earphone and test out the BFO. If you want, you can just listen to the BFO itself. It'll sound like a bunch of static and noise. But we gonna take the output of the BFO and we gonna hook it up to the input of the crystal radio. Now we can go ahead and put the crystal into the circuit by placing it between the two connections coming from the tuning capacitor. Now we can go ahead and screw the tuning capacitor onto the base of the radio. Then we can take the positive side of the rectifier and attach it to the outer shell of the tuning capacitor. We'll take the negative side of the rectifier and attach it to the bottom of the radio. Then we can grab our antenna and we can attach it to the top of the radio. And now we're ready to tune in some stations. So we'll go ahead and grab the antenna and turn it around until we start hearing something. Now it may take a while to tune in a station with this kind of radio. Sometimes it takes a lot of turning back and forth to get a station to come in. But once you get it in, you'll be able to hear it pretty clearly. So as you can tell, there's a lot of different ways that you can make a radio. And with a little bit of know-how, you can make one that's really, really good. One of the things I love about these projects is that they allow me to be creative. Like I'm not just following instructions. I'm actually learning about electronics and how things work. And that's something that everyone should do, in my opinion. I mean, think about it. What better way to learn about something than to actually break it down and see how it works? I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you some ideas of your own. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below, share it with somebody who needs it, and leave a comment letting me know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Livuga channel. I'm trying to grow that thing as fast as possible. And if you subscribe, you'll be helping me do that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.